Chelsea fans, welcome back to Talking Chelsea. Welcome back to your Chelsea news. Chelsea make a fortune in player sales this summer window. Marc Cucurella gets a brand new contract. Chelsea have sold another youth player for more profit. We have a brand new club interested in signing Christopher Nkunku. We have an update regarding Garnacho. Jorrel Hato should be a Chelsea player within the next 24 to 48 hours. And Barcelona want Nicolas Jackson. Now, of course, I've given my own thoughts and opinions on everything that's been reported, but more importantly, I want to know what you guys think down below in the comments. And before we get into the video, make sure you leave a like and subscribe if you are a Chelsea fan who enjoys Chelsea content. We're on the road to 10k before the end of 2025. Bobby Vincent has reported that Ishe Samuels-Smith will become a Strasbourg player on a permanent basis. He will fly to France imminently to finalise a move. He goes on to report that Chelsea received £12.5 million for Mathis Amougou. And he finishes his report by saying Chelsea will surpass the £160 million mark for player sales, and that is without including add-ons once Samuels-Smith becomes a Strasbourg player officially. This is absolutely monumental, and there's quite a few things to break down here. One, Chelsea are elite at selling players. We are the best in the world at doing it, and I will not hear otherwise. The amount of money we receive from players that don't do well at Chelsea, considered dead wood for a lot of other clubs and rival fans, the amount of money we managed to generate offloading these players is incredible. Now, recently with Felix, we're getting like 48 million for him, which is wild considering we bought him for like 42, 43 a season ago, played for us for 6 months, went on loan to AC Milan, flopped there, and he's now kind of been in the void for a little while. He's now going over to Saudi and Al Nassr, and they're giving us the bag. It is crazy work from Chelsea to be able to offload these players. We had the same with Lukaku. We had the same with Morata. Whether it's the old ownership or the new ownership, the trend is staying the same. When it comes to the transfer market, this is where Chelsea absolutely thrive. Now, we can all be honest here. When the new ownership come in and they said they were going to invest over $1 billion in players, and we kind of mocked it a little bit because they were buying everyone that could kick a ball. It was such a revolving door window of ins and outs over the last couple of years. And I've said many times that this window is very crucial because it's where it slows down in terms of we offload who we need to offload. We bring in key players in key areas to improve the current squad, and then we can calm down, and then all of a sudden we have a very solid foundation which is continuing to grow. We can just get the key players over time, and then again offload the players where it isn't working out for them. There's still going to be a huge amount on the spider web of Chelsea scouting network of young players that we're going to try and flip for profit, young players we're going to bring in and try and develop, and obviously we have the sister club of Strasbourg where we can kind of pick and choose and sort of transfer players between. It's such a genius network, and again, it's something that Abramovich had under his ownership and his team of people, where we loaned loads of players out because you could generate revenue that way from wages and loan fees and things like that, and then you can sell them for profit. It's a slightly different model, of course, but it's under the same sort of infrastructure and how wide it's spread and how deep it's rooted, and just how much money it can generate Chelsea. Now, even with like the likes of Noni Madueke, bought him for 29 million, sold him for over 50 this year. That's 2 years later, nearly double the amount. It's crazy. There's talks of Jackson going for around 65, 70, even 80 million pounds. Bought him for 32 million pounds just 2 years ago. The João Felix deal, selling Conor Gallagher for 40 million pounds. There is just a long list of how Chelsea have done so incredibly well in the markets in terms of offloading players as well as buying players. Yes, we've had hits and misses with our purchases, but with our sales, you can look down that list. Unbelievable. 12.5 million for Amougou. What? Unbelievable. Then you look at Ishe Samuels-Smith. Now, obviously, he's going to Strasbourg, and that is something that I feel like is very vital information. It keeps him within the Chelsea network. I feel like that is one thing that we can kind of look upon as a positive, still within the network, which means even though it's a permanent, it kind of moves money around essentially. I don't really know the legalities of it. I know we're not breaking any rules, but having permanent transfers here and loan moves between our sister clubs, I don't really know. It seems like murky water to me. But we can't even use the excuse that we use in Saudi to offload these players. Because when you look at the history of the transfers with Saudi clubs, I think we're actually just about breaking even, because they got Kante on a free. We lost money on Koulibaly. We lost money on a couple of others. Edouard Mendy. Yes, they came in and bought them at the right time, but in terms of what we bought them for and what we sold them for, you can obviously work out amortization, etc. So it might work out a bit different in terms of financial sheets year by year. But then you go and sell João Felix, and again, you make a profit. It's just incredible news. Now, when it comes to Ishe Samuels-Smith, now, this is a player which I would be incredibly sad if we got rid of him to a random club, right? A rival club or a different club across the continent, because he's got such high potential. We just know that. The limited minutes that we've seen him play And from the football that I've seen him play, whether it's highlights or lower, not lower league, but like the lower tiers of football, the under-21s, etc., and the different tournaments he's played, I've watched a fair amount of games. I'm not going to sit here and say I've watched every game, but whenever it's on or whenever it's been spoken about, I've always dipped in and had a little look. Very, very good player. But because he's going to Strasbourg, I'm kind of like, okay, cool, that makes sense. Because again, it's money being moved on spreadsheets, but essentially he's still part of the network. So it's not like it's impossible to buy him back. But Strasbourg are getting a fantastic player who, again, is young, with a high ceiling, a lot of potential, raw talent that needs to develop, and they can go and develop him, and he can be an incredible player. But I want to know your thoughts and opinions down below regarding Chelsea and their selling tactics. Are Chelsea the best club in the world at selling? Are they the best club in the world at selling? Or is there a different club out there that does it better than we do? I just think that we're clear of everyone in terms of buying and selling. People keep saying to us, how can you keep spending all this money? How can you keep spending all this money? Because we sell extremely well. And even with the likes of Ishe Samuels-Smith, we make a profit. Cyril Olives and L'Equipe have reported that Chelsea have sold Ishe Samuels-Smith to Strasbourg for 6.4 million plus 432,000 in bonuses. They signed him in 2023 when he arrived from Everton for around 3.8 million pounds. So even on a player like Ishe Samuels-Smith, we've doubled our money near enough. This is what I'm saying when it comes to Chelsea being so good at selling players. Now, you can call it sports washing, money laundering, whatever. I just feel like we have a solid negotiation team and we're not willing to drop and lower our expectations when we sell our players off. There have been cases over the years where, yes, it's probably been a weaker deal on our side, but overall, the amount of money we can generate from selling players is second to none. Liverpool are very good at doing this too, in terms of their buying power and their selling. The way they've sold players this summer has been incredible, but I still think Chelsea is just so clear of everyone else. So I'd love to know your thoughts and opinions down below regarding 12.5 million for Amougou. It was originally an undisclosed fee. That's now been revealed. 6.4 million for Samuels-Smith. Let me know your thoughts on that. And do you think that Chelsea are the best selling club in the world by the way that we offload players that are unwanted or haven't worked at Chelsea? Fabrizio Romano has reported that Chelsea plan to offer Marc Cucurella a new contract, key part of a long-term project. No talks of Al Nassr. Chelsea see Marc Cucurella as an important player, and Hato would be a backup left-back. Things you love to see, things you love to hear, things you love to read. Marc Cucurella getting a better contract is something that is well overdue in my opinion, and surely in your opinion. He is an incredible left-back, one of the best, if not the best in the world currently. This guy has been in amazing form for the longest time ever. And I'll be the first one to hold my hands up and say when he first joined Chelsea, I could not stand the guy. I thought he was awful. It took him a long time to settle, get into the rhythm of things, and he's completely changed my mind. For a long, long time now. He is an incredible left-back. And anyone that doesn't rate Cucurella, you need to sit down and watch his games, mate, because he's had people on lock. We're talking Salahs, we're talking any of the PSG players that we had recently, and everyone in between. He has been unbelievable for the longest time, so it's thoroughly deserved. Now, you guys let me know in the comments that he was actually signed before we implemented this new wage structure, so he's already on a lot more money than a lot of his peers under this new wage structure. So it'd be very interesting to see what sort of contract he's going to get bumped up to. Is it more wages and a longer contract? Is it just more wages on his current term of contract? Who knows? It'll be very interesting to see what finds out there. But it's very interesting that we've been speaking about Cucurella in the last few days. Obviously, we had those whispers through the grapevine that Cristiano Ronaldo wanted Al Nassr to sign Cucurella. The club come out very quickly and said, nah, he ain't going anywhere. And then literally after I uploaded that video yesterday, in the same evening, they then go, boom, Chelsea are actually planning on giving him another contract because he's such a key player. When you really break down our starting 11 in terms of how integral players are to the Enzo Maresca system, how much of a consistent high level that they play at, there's only a handful of players that come to mind, right? In terms of that core, that spine, the untouchables. You've got Reece James when he stays fit. You've got Cucurella. You've got Cole Palmer. You've got Caicedo. I'd even put Enzo up there in terms of how we play in this system. It's just we're collecting these sort of key players. Levi Colwill has developed a mass amount over this season, and I even say he's very integral to how Enzo Maresca wants to set up and play his system. So many players now are becoming very, very core parts of this team, and rightfully so for Cucurella to get a pay increase, a contract extension, whatever he wants. Give that man whatever he wants. But I would love to know your thoughts and opinions down below. What do you think his new wages will be? Do you think it will just be a wage increase, or will it be a wage and length of contract increase? Let me know your thoughts and opinions down below. Chelsea Chronicle has reported that RB Leipzig have expressed an interest in re-signing Christopher Nkunku as Chelsea. The Chelsea Chronicle has reported that RB Leipzig have expressed an interest in re-signing Christopher Nkunku as Chelsea move for Xavi Simons. This is very interesting. Earlier in the week, maybe last week at this point, there are big talks, and I think they're still ongoing, regarding Xavi Simons going one way and Carney Chukwuemeka going the other. And I said it was a perfect swap deal. But this could also be a perfect swap deal because Nkunku made his name at Leipzig. He was world class at Leipzig. He was the man in the Bundesliga. And I feel like this move could be unbelievable. And I'm not throwing anyone under the bus. I don't know how reliable the Chelsea Chronicle is. I'm assuming it's got some sort of substance. It wouldn't just come out of something for no reason. But if this is true and there is concrete sort of weight behind it, I back this fully. Because like I said earlier in the video, when it comes to Chelsea earning over £160 million, with the Ishe Samuels-Smith deal going through and the Amougou amount being revealed, we still have so many players left to sell. You've got Nkunku. Jackson could potentially leave. There's a lot of clubs seem to be interested. We're going to speak about him later in the video, so make sure you keep watching. There is a long list of players: Chilwell, Sterling, Dewsbury Hall. There's a lot of others that Bashir Humphreys was sold for 15 million. The list goes on of what Chelsea can sell this summer. And if it all goes to plan, we could be generating close between 400 to 500 million euros, or I don't know what those are pounds, 400 million pounds ish in just player sales. Yes, we spent a lot, but we'd still be in a net profit on that, which is just mind-blowing to think about. So when it comes to Nkunku, I know that Chelsea are asking for 43 million. It's a very similar fee in euros-ish for Xavi Simons. It's not completely the same. There is a bit of a deviation there, of course. Chelsea would be spending a little bit more, but they'll be able to recover the money that we spent on Nkunku, so we wouldn't be at a loss in that sense, right, across different financial years. And again, the amortization of his contract, etc. I think this would be an incredible deal if there is any element of truth and concrete evidence to suggest that this is going to happen. Because Leipzig are either going to get someone like Carney, who's young and is a very skillful player and has got a high ceiling, bags of potential, can go on and be an unbelievable player. We've seen the sort of the flashes of what he can do inconsistently at Chelsea, and he's done very well at Dortmund. Or they could go for someone like Nkunku, who is proven to be incredible in the Bundesliga, going back to a club that he clearly enjoyed playing for. I think it could be a really nice reunion for the Leipzig fans. I don't think they wanted to lose Nkunku when they did. I could be wrong. I'm not a Leipzig fan. But, he had such an incredible season in the Bundesliga, and then we bought him. And he's not really been the same. So it could be a really nice emotional return for someone like Nkunku to go back to a league he's familiar with, go back to a team where he played so well. And we obviously get Xavi Simons, which would be incredible. That's just my thoughts and opinions on it. I would love to know yours down below. Would you want to keep Nkunku for this season? Do you feel like it is inevitable that he's being sold this summer? Would you like to see some sort of swap deal where 2 deals back to back, essentially, of Simons coming to Chelsea and Nkunku going the other way? Or would you rather it be that we get Simons and then Carney goes the other way? What are your thoughts and opinions down below on that? I'm very curious to know your thoughts. Fabrizio Romano has reported that Jorrel Hato is getting closer and closer and closer, working on the add-ons and the structure. The final details now. Chelsea are also preparing already to submit a new contract proposal for Marc Cucurella. Discussions underway for his future at Chelsea. Ben Jacobs has reported a deal for Hato potentially agreed in the next 24 to 48 hours. And Mike, I can't pronounce your name, I do apologise, has reported that Ajax management is weighing up an offer from Chelsea for Jorrel Hato for between £37 million and £39 million. They initially wanted between 47 and 52 million. Given the club's bleak financial situation, Ajax can't risk Chelsea calling off the deal. Now, it seems like we're talking about Simons and Hato every single day because, as we know, the negotiations are going over a long period of time to get these deals across. And we had the Here We Go meter yesterday. If you haven't seen that, check out yesterday's video. Fabrizio Romano was like, Hato is at 80%, Simons is currently at 70% of getting the deals done, or the Here We Goes, which I thought was just wild. I've never seen a Here We Go meter before, but hey, it's 2025, things are different, right? So when it comes to what I find interesting about this is the negotiations have been going on for a long time, and Chelsea wanted to use the Timber deal as like a baseline. Ajax originally wanted like 60 million, and we wanted to come in at 40, and it's been going on a long time. But it seems like we are finally getting closer and closer between what they're happy with, what we want to pay, and it's getting closer and closer. Now it's between 37 and 39 million pounds, and initially wanting 47 to 52. That's a big jump down. And it's interesting to get Mike's view, because he is a Dutch journalist, right? To get the sort of perspective from an Ajax side of things, where they say the financials of Ajax is pretty bleak. They can't risk Chelsea calling off the deal. So it's almost like a power play for Chelsea, because it's like, well, we can walk away at any time. And they're like, we don't know if we're going to get this amount of money for another player like Hato or someone else in the same window. We don't know when that next opportunity may be. So I feel like Ajax are not going to bat away any sort of bid from Chelsea, but they are also going to be quite firm in saying, not that low. We do need a little bit more money for that. So I really like where this is at right now. I feel like, again, it's going on, and I don't want to keep talking about Hato as a player. We know how fantastic he is, what he can bring to the side. And earlier in the video, when I spoke about Marc Cucurella's new contract extension, it's clearly stated that he's going to be a backup for Cucurella. However, I still think Hato gets a lot of minutes this season with lots of competitions we're playing in, rotation of Cucurella so we don't burn him out. And he can also play centre-back. So again, there's a lot of variety in his style of play and how Maresca wants to set up and different tactics for different opposition. I feel like he's going to get a lot of minutes. I'm still super excited, even though this has been going on for a multitude of days now, maybe even weeks. Every day blurs into one, I'm not going to lie. It's just interesting to see the Ajax perspective or the Dutch perspective as well as the like Fabrizio's perspective, right? So between 37 and 39 million, I still think it's a bargain. I really do. For a player of Hato's abilities, his wheelhouse, his potential, his current standard of playing football, international, do you know what I mean? I think it's incredible. So Chelsea could potentially be getting an absolute bargain here in Hato and only paying just under £40 million, which is wild because originally when Ajax said they wanted 60 million, Chelsea wanted to pay around 40. So if we can go in and secure it around 40, again, it goes back to the whole buying and selling club and being one of the best in the world at selling. But in terms of negotiating for buying as well, yes, we have paid for some players under this new ownership right at the start, but that seems to have gone away severely now. And that's why we were even arguing about Mike Maignan over a couple of million because of our principles of, well, he's only got 12 months left in his deal. So we value him at this. You either take it or you don't. We'll walk away, which frustrates the fans, don't get me wrong, because I thought Mike Maignan would be an incredible sale. And you never know. It's a weird and wonderful world. We could potentially go back in for Mike Maignan later in the window. You don't really know. Chelsea are so unpredictable, right? But to come in and say, yeah, we want to play 40 million, and Ajax wanted more, and then over time it's kind of gone down to, actually, we might be paying £1 million less than that, or a couple £1 million less than the 40. It's really good negotiation skills. So I'd love to know your thoughts and opinion. What do you think that final figure for Jorrel Hato will be to Chelsea? Do you still think this deal is happening? Do you feel like the deal is not going to happen? And what do you think that final fee will be that Chelsea pay? Will it be 37, 39, or in the sort of the young 40s of 40 to 44 million pounds? Let me know your thoughts and opinions down below. Fabrizio Romano has also reported about Chelsea attackers. He said the first step is to go for Xavi Simons. Conversations advance with Leipzig. The next step is consider Garnacho as an opportunity in the month of August. If United conditions to sell will match up with Chelsea's conditions, for all this to happen, Chelsea would also need Nkunku and Sterling to go for Garnacho, obviously not to go elsewhere. And Miguel Delaney has reported that Chelsea's interest in Alejandro Garnacho is long-standing, but there is one main obstacle in regards to any potential trade. The hierarchy at Chelsea value Nicolas Jackson at £80 million, and they don't want to pay any more than £30 million for Garnacho. Now, I find this very, very interesting. Now, we spoke about Garnacho in yesterday's video, and to be fair, some of you cracked me up in the comments. You were like, oh, I love that part about Garnacho, because I went on a rant basically saying that a lot of you guys keep telling me to stop talking about him, but the game's the game. If it's in the reports, we react to it. And again, my opinions, get your opinions down below. That's how this works. We know this. We enjoy it, right? But when it comes to Garnacho, look, it divides the fan base. Some people really don't like the idea of it. Fair enough. Some people do like the idea of it. Fair enough. I gave my thoughts yesterday in detail, but essentially, to recap, I would be happy if Chelsea was to get Garnacho on a loan like we did with Jadon Sancho. A loan, a try before you buy for a season with an obligation to buy after a certain cap, and a fine if we don't want to buy him, exactly like we did with Jadon Sancho. I would be more than happy with that because there's no pressure on the player, there's no pressure on the club. Having said that, for £30 million, I don't think you can go wrong when you look at Chelsea's history of selling players that don't work out at Chelsea. This has really changed my mind a little. Now, I'll be brutally honest. Do I like Garnacho? Not particularly. And that's no shade thrown at him. I don't know. There's certain players out there, whenever you guys as fans as well, there'll be certain players you just don't have a sort of connection to, right? Garnacho is one of those for me. Yes, he's young. Yes, he's extremely talented. He is inconsistent. He's had attitude and discipline problems. Of course, he's young. That's going to happen. I don't hold that against him. I don't know. From what I've seen of Garnacho, I'm like, nah, I'm just not impressed by it. And that's because I'm not a United fan and I don't watch him week in, week out, right? However, I am not naive to see that he has massive potential and he has 3 years of Premier League experience at the age of 20, which is wild. One thing I will always say is as soon as a player puts on a Chelsea shirt, I will back them until they give me a reason not to. Prime example is Romelu Lukaku. When he signed, I was like, oh my God, this is incredible. I cannot wait. And I was backing him until we did the interview. And then I'm like, I'm done with you. No, I don't want you part of that club. I'm not supporting you at all. I felt, as a lot of fans did, felt let down in that moment. I'm very much the same with every player. I want every player to do well at Chelsea until they give me a reason not to back them anymore. And it would be the same for Alejandro Garnacho. It's funny to see not the whole fan base, but portions of the fan base, like for example with Noni Madueke last season, Nicolas Jackson last season, the season before, they just can't get behind them at all. And that's fair enough. If that's your opinion, that's your viewpoint, cool. I'm not here to knock that. That's just how some people think, and fair enough. But for me, I want to back the players until they give me a reason not to. So if Chelsea can secure Garnacho for £30 million, I still feel confident that if it doesn't work out at Chelsea, which again, if he does sign for Chelsea, I want it to work out, I have no fears that Chelsea can't move Garnacho on for more than £30 million, because essentially Chelsea using this as a market opportunity. Garnacho wants to leave. United want to get rid of him. No one wants to pay the big price that they originally wanted, which is around 60 million. Then no one even come in at 40 million. So Chelsea are like, well, if we can get him for £30 million, we'll have him, because you know that we're interested, but we're not paying that extortionate amount of money that you value him at currently. And then if he does really well and we still want to move him on, we're going to get guaranteed more than £30 million for him. Is this a player I would go out and target specifically? No. No, it isn't. And again, I've made that very clear. But, I don't want to write anyone off before they've even started. And the only reason I'm saying this is because we've been linked with him for so long, since January. And I've been very vocal about my thoughts and opinions about Garnacho since then. But the more I'm thinking about it, the more this keeps popping up, the more I'm seeing how well Chelsea offload players that we no longer have interest of and how we still make money on them. It kind of gives me a bit more assurance that if it doesn't work out, we can recoup our money. But if it does work out, we got an absolute bargain spending £30 million. I would still much rather the loan with obligation, because the try before you buy, like I say, I just think there's no pressure on either party. Garnacho just kind of has to perform. If he performs, he gets that move. Great. But for the club, if you don't perform, we can just send him back. And I like that. I think that works very, very well. However, I don't think United will want to do that. In regards to Nicolas Jackson, if they want him, £80 million. It's as simple as that. If they want Jackson, £80 million. The reports yesterday said that they're shutting up shop on Nicolas Jackson because they don't want to pay the money. Fair enough. There are other clubs that will pay the money. Juventus are willing to pay around 60 million. Chelsea are willing to reduce that number if for Nicolas Jackson to go to another club that isn't a Premier League rival. If he goes to Serie A, I can see him selling him for £60 million. Newcastle, £65 million. There is a lot of other potential clubs that are willing to pay that money. So in that sense, I'm not really that bothered that United don't want him. If it's a deal breaker and it's specifically a Jackson one way, Garnacho the other, they need to cough up the £80 million, in my opinion. But I'd love to know your thoughts and opinions down below regarding Garnacho for £30 million. Would you still much rather a try before you buy? Would you just not go for him whatsoever? Do you think £30 million is a fair price or an advantage of price that we can buy him into, then make profit on later down the line if it doesn't work out? And what are your thoughts on Nicolas Jackson for £80 million? Do you feel like a club will come in and pay that? Or will Chelsea have to reduce their asking price? Let me know your thoughts and opinions down below in the comments. And Court Offside have reported that Barcelona have emerged as one of the most serious contenders to sign Nicolas Jackson, identifying the Chelsea striker as a potential backup for Robert Lewandowski. Now, we know with Court Offside, they are either bang on the money or they're miles off it, right? So I'm not saying this is gospel. Like I always say, I'm just reacting to it, giving my opinions, asking for yours in the comments, right? We know how this works. I'm not saying this is gospel. What I find very interesting is Robert Lewandowski has been very vocal recently saying, I don't want someone to come in and replace me. I am the main man at Barcelona. I am the number 9. This is why they've signed me. Yes, I'm getting older, but I can still bang goals, right? We know how clinical he is as a finisher, right? In the air, left foot, right foot, doesn't matter. He is just an incredible goal scorer of our generation. And there have been some recent reports about Barcelona signing a new striker to replace him. He's been like, no, that ain't happening. However, there's two things. If Barcelona want to come in and pay the money, unbelievable. Yeah, cool. Bye, Nico. You can go to Barcelona, because in the last 5 years, Barcelona have made some very questionable signings that have either worked or haven't worked, right? You forget, João Felix has played for Barcelona in the last 5 years. So Barcelona are not sort of null and void of making bad financial decisions. So if they want to go sign Nicolas Jackson, I think it'd be a great signing. And yes, he would be a backup to Robert Lewandowski. Would Jackson want to be the backup? Probably, if it's for a club like Barcelona, because of what comes with that. The only thing that I will always say about Barcelona is they are so financially redundant that they can't even sign and register players. They're constantly taking these sponsorships. They're obviously paying way too much in wages and transfer fees. They can't afford it. That's the only thing that makes me think that I don't think this is going to happen. We've also had interest from Juventus, as we spoke about yesterday, Premier League clubs. I think as the window goes on, there are more and more clubs that are interested in Nicolas Jackson, and I do honestly feel like the writing's on the wall, and Chelsea will be selling him this summer. It's just a finalisation of what the fee's going to be and what club is going to come in and pay the money. Chelsea are in such a powerful position regarding Jackson. We spoke about it in depth yesterday, so I won't bore you with it too much. But what do you think about the links of Barcelona and Nicolas Jackson to be a backup for Robert Lewandowski? Do you think this is a good move from Barcelona? Do you think there's any evidence to suggest that this is concrete, or do you think this is just absolute waffle purely because Barcelona struggle to actually register players year on year on year? Let me know your thoughts and opinions down below. I'm very curious to know your thoughts. And that's all that is Chelsea news. Let me know your thoughts and opinions on everything that's been reported down below in the comment section. I love having a conversation with you guys. And if you have watched this video all the way to the end, firstly, you're a real one, and I mean that, you're a real one. But secondly, there'll be a thumbnail appears on the screen. So if you are a Chelsea fan who enjoys Chelsea content, make sure to click our thumbnail because you'll enjoy that video too.